Hello, it's Dale here. Back to my silk paper making situation again. Last time I showed you making the silk paper with a hanky using the CMC paste, which is a temporary glue. And I did that because I wanted to be, it's quite a papery sort of thing, as you can see. I wanted to stitch on it, which I have done. And next time I'll show you what happens when I wash it out and get rid of it. So it's quite, you can see, if you look close, you can see the sticky of the glue. But we'll change all that. You can't stitch on straight onto the hankies without some sort of adhesive, and if you want to be able to release it and leave it back to being soft like this, you need to use a temporary adhesive. So that's, I'll come back and show you that in the last session. And this is a hanky, the layers of hanky, I did say, see there's many layers, and they are, I find them quite difficult to work with because I never put the hand cream on and that sort of thing. So, and they attach to everything. But just to show that, you know, we're human. And what I've done here is I've laid one out. You can see it's very thin in places, and but it is there. And I've just spread it right out from the corners and so on. And then I put a bit of bits and pieces onto it. So here's some that's been left over from before, and these are some of the wonderful sari loom waist ends that we have. So if I just cut some down, different colours, just you can see how they come. They're off the end of the looms, and we sell them in 100-gram bags, and they're really quite fabulous. And I'll just take a bit off to pop down onto here. So, you know, it's definitely sari waist, but it's not wasted if we like, because we like to use it. And so here's another little one. I'll just put these on for a bit of something to do. Lots of fun. These make great bases because they're very, very fine once we get going with them. Here's, we'll have a little bit of green, a little bit of purple, and then we'll put the netting on the top. Now this time I'm quite specifically gluing this with the textile medium, so I'm wetting it down first with the soapy water. Remember, if you don't use this water and wet it through, and the detergent helps it to get into the fibres, then the glue to me doesn't stick properly. So I'll just turn her over, give it another little wetting. And I'm just using, you know, ordinary dishwashing detergent, and then I take my medium, which I've mixed 50-50, because I don't want it to be too hard and firm. I want it to be soft enough to be able to work further onto, maybe to cut up, maybe to stitch. I'll turn it over and give it a good coating on the outside, and I'm going to take this outside and dry it on the line. But so I'll leave that there for you to see, and I'll come back and do something with it for next week. And then another thing I've done, I was knitting, and that's what I talked about last time. So this is one hanky that I've knitted, and you can see I haven't quite finished. It's you just come along and I just pull it out as I go, so it can be quite fine and thin and or thick. So it's a little bit of practice at pulling it. Still a few more rows that I can get, but if you have a look, you can see my knitting, and that is from that particular, this colour, when it's all pulled out. And from last week I made a piece of silk paper which I put the knitting onto, and textile medium, so it's integrated into the piece of silk paper, and I'm going to stitch on it, but I wanted to show you this first. So it's just a small piece, and the knitting has worked into it. Of course, your knitting doesn't have to go back into it. You can put it onto something else, onto any of the stitching that you might be doing, but it's lovely and soft. I've never made a garment or gloves or anything, but it will make perfect for a garment because it's so soft and beautiful. And then finally, I want to show you a couple of other things that I've done with my silk paper. A long time ago I made a dress. It's called 2 Trips to Tuscany, and the top part I've made with silk paper, And if you look here, you can see it, I've twin needled it all over. And it's just a beautiful piece of fabric. It was for an art to wear. And then for the base, I'm trying to keep it out of the water there, out of the wet. I have stitched it all in water soluble in Romeo to make a piece of fabric, and I have stitched circles and shapes and things. So that was the skirt, and I've got netting and stuff over the top. And now this is quite old, so it's got longevity, lasts for a long time, and so that everything's getting caught up with everything else. But that is my garment here, which there doesn't fit me, of course, but it used to fit Kazuko very well. It looked nice on her. So there it is. And then finally, just to show you what you can also do, I've trapped silk fibres inside between 2 layers of Romeo and stitched it. And this is also from a long time ago. It's just straight stitching. It's or just free stitching with squares and shapes and things, but how well it holds its own. So there you are. I hope that's given you a few more ideas, and next week I'll come back and finish off my segment on using silk fibres. I've got silk laps to show you next time. Bye.